It was a hot Friday evening, and I was sitting by the corner of the local market, watching the sunset bleed into the dark sky. I had just finished my shift, but something in the air told me today wasn't going to end like any other. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to happen. I didn't know it then, but that evening would change Mayowa's life forever. Mayowa was a good kid. I had known him since he was a baby. His mother, Adebisi, had raised him alone. After his father, Mayowa's father, died in a car accident before the boy was born. Adebisi, who had already lost her parents years ago, was left alone in the world. The in-laws, who were supposed to help, accused her of causing the accident and demanded she leave. They took away whatever inheritance she could have had, and she was forced to start over with nothing. She moved to the slums of Lagos, settling in a small room where she sold a kamu, local papi, to survive. Mayowa grew up in that harsh environment, surrounded by the noise and chaos of the street. But there was something about him that made you believe he would make it out. He was bright, always asking questions, always looking for answers. His mother would tell me how he promised her he would never follow the bad path of the people around them. "I'll make you proud, Mama," he used to say, his eyes full of fire. "I will be somebody one day." It wasn't long before the boy showed his potential. He enrolled in a local school, though it was tough. He didn't have the luxury of private tutors or extra lessons like the other kids, but he was determined. Every evening, after helping his mother with the akamu business, he would sit down to study by the dim light of a kerosene lamp, his school books spread out before him. Despite all the struggles, Mayowa was smart, too smart for his own good. But like many kids growing up in the slums, temptation was always lurking. I first saw the change in Mayowa when he was about 15. He started hanging out with a different crowd, older boys who didn't seem to care about school or hard work. They wore flashy clothes, drove expensive bikes, and acted like they owned the world. I tried to warn him, but he was stubborn. I saw the spark of ambition in his eyes, but it seemed like he was starting to believe there was a shortcut to success, one that didn't require all the hard work his mother had put in for years. "You have to understand, Uncle Duro," Mayowa said to me one evening as we sat in front of his mother's stall. "Those boys, they're doing big things. They can show me how to get ahead faster. I'm just trying to learn, just trying to get a taste of what they have." I could see it in his face. The hunger, the longing for something bigger. It wasn't the kind of hunger that would lead him to a better future. No, this was the kind of hunger that could ruin him. I tried to talk to him, but he wasn't listening. And the more I tried to warn him, the more he pulled away. Then one night, it all went downhill. It was a Sunday evening. I was walking back to my house after buying a few groceries when I heard the familiar sound of Mayowa's voice calling my name. I turned around and saw him running toward me, his face pale and panicked. "Uncle Duro, please, you have to help me," he shouted. I grabbed his shoulders, trying to calm him down. "What happened?" "What's going on?" I'm in trouble," he stammered. "I was with the boys. We tried to rob a store, but everything went wrong. The shopkeeper fought back, and the police came. I'm scared, Uncle Duro. They said they'll burn us alive if we get caught." My heart sank. I didn't need to ask more questions. I could see the terror in his eyes. The kid had gotten mixed up with the wrong people, and now it was too late to turn back. "Where are they?" I asked, my voice urgent. Where is the gang? They scattered, but the police are looking for us. They'll be coming soon. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to help him, but I wasn't sure how. Then I had an idea. I told Mayowa to come with me, and we took a detour to a small alley where I knew we could hide until things calmed down. We waited there for hours, but I knew we couldn't stay forever. Mayowa was shaking, his face pale, his mind racing. Uncle Duro, I never thought it would go this far, he said quietly. I didn't want to hurt anyone. I just thought I could get rich fast. But now I think I've ruined everything. I didn't say anything. What could I say? How do you comfort a kid who's about to face the consequences of his choices? Eventually, the police found them. The gang had been caught, but Mayowa was still with me. They pulled him out of the alley, and the others were shouting his name. He's one of us, they yelled. He's part of the gang. But one of the older boys, a man who had been the leader of their group, stepped forward. He pointed at Mayowa and said, No, he's not one of us. He didn't do anything. I watched as the police took Mayowa into custody, but instead of being taken away in a paddy wagon, he was escorted to the station with just a warning. They could tell he was just a kid who had made a bad decision, not a hardened criminal. The other boys weren't as lucky. They were taken away to face the full punishment. But Mayowa had been saved in part because one of the older boys had spared him. That night I saw the fear in Mayowa's eyes, but also a flicker of something else, a realization. The next few days were quiet. Mayowa didn't speak to anyone. He locked himself in his room, probably replaying that moment over and over in his head, wondering how he'd gotten so close to losing everything. But as I watched him, I saw something shift inside him. He had learned the lesson the hard way. Life wasn't a race, and shortcuts could destroy you. One evening, about a week after the robbery, he came to my house. His face was different. There was no fear in his eyes, no trace of panic. It was as if something inside him had clicked. Uncle Duro, he said, sitting down across from me. I've been thinking, I can't go back to that life. I can't make the same mistake again. I nodded, relieved. Good decision, Mayowa. So, what's your plan now? I'm going to work hard. I want to be successful the right way. He wasn't just saying words. I could see it in his eyes. The hunger was still there, but it was focused now, like a laser. Mayowa spent the next few months helping his mother with the pap business, but it wasn't enough. He knew he had to do more to make a real living. One day, I came across him reading a book at the market. It was Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone, a book about the art of selling and closing deals. Uncle Duro, this book is amazing, he said with a smile. It's teaching me how to sell anything, even myself. I didn't know it then, but that book would change everything for Mayowa. He devoured it. And then he moved on to more books, sales, marketing, business. He became obsessed with learning how to sell, how to close, how to negotiate. And just like that, Mayowa was on his way to something bigger. 3 years passed, and the boy who once almost died in a failed robbery was now a master salesman. He started selling everything, clothes, electronics, anything he could get his hands on. And he was good. No, he was great. He could sell ice to an Eskimo, I swear. One day, he walked into a small office downtown, a local beverage company that was struggling to get their product into stores. They had great drinks, but no sales strategy, no team. I can help you, Mayowa said, confident as ever. Let me be your sales professional. I'll build a team, and I'll get your product in every store. Give me 5% of all sales." At first, they laughed. They didn't know who he was. But Mayowa wasn't just any kid off the street. He spoke with conviction, with knowledge, and with a plan. The company agreed to take a chance on him, and then Mayowa went to work. Fast forward to today. The beverage company that once struggled is now a multi-million-dollar brand. Mayowa's sales team is everywhere: supermarkets, small stores, even restaurants. And Mayowa, he's the reason they made it. He built the brand, closed the deals, and changed the game. As for Mayowa, the kid who once nearly lost it all, he's now one of the most successful sales professionals I know. I still remember that night, the night that could have been his last. But it wasn't. It was the turning point. And Mayowa, he never looked back.